Hey, what's up everybody? We're back with another Q&A video. I'm once again under a tree, actually under a lot of trees, and I actually started to panic because I saw all the leaves falling off, but then they all grew back, so what a relief. But yeah, we're just going to be answering you guys' questions once again today. Decided to go outside. There's a creek back here. Found a nice little trail. We brought Odin as well, and he was jumping in the water and having some fun. I say we because it's Bria and I here, and yeah, just touching some grass for the first time in a while. You know, I need that sunshine, I need that vitamin D. All right, starting off with Isaac Self. Isaac asks, if items weren't limited by power type, magical/physical, what items would you build on each character? For example, Chronos Pendant could be built on Gilgamesh, Transcendence could be built on Kabrakan, etc. Says not all characters, maybe do one physical, one magical. Okay, I could do one of each. If you could actually build like whatever you wanted on each character, regardless of magical or physical, it would be pretty interesting. I think a character I would like to see. I've actually suggested this before. It might be kind of broken, but you could balance it, you know, with numbers and everything. But Odysseus bow on like Freya or something, because like magical ADCs, one of their big downsides is like AOE damage, right? You know, Freya's only going to be hitting a single target the entire time. So I think like Oboe on like a Freya or a Chronos would be pretty interesting, and instead of it doing like 25% scaling, maybe you just lower it to like 10%, since magicals can build a lot of power. So yeah, that's what I would do for a magical. And then I think maybe Spear of Deso on basically any physical character, like a physical assassin in a team fight. Spear of Deso proccing could be a really fun item to have. It's similar to like Boombas and stuff. It'll allow you to snowball a fight, and I think it'd be pretty fun to have that on physicals. Next up we have Exploding, and Exploding asks, thoughts on Predecessor or Overprime, and if it succeeds / you like the gameplay, will you make some content out of it? Yeah, I was interested in that, both games actually, and I think there's another one, I think it's called Fault, and basically they're just all remakes of Paragon. I actually never played Paragon when it was out, and you know, I wasn't like the biggest fan of it, but after seeing these remakes, I'm pretty interested, I'd say. The thing is, right now, I'm actually having a lot of fun with Smite, and, you know, competitive is my #1 priority. Like, there's a lot of games that I enjoy playing, and, like, if I wasn't a competitive Smite player, I'd probably make time to actually play. But right now, I don't know, I'm just enjoying Smite so much, and GeoGuessr and some games here and there, that I don't know if I, right now, really want to dedicate a ton of time to another game. You know, maybe if I take a break from competitive at some point, or, you know, something happens and I have some free time, I could definitely see myself doing that, but for the time being, I don't think so. Alright, so this is a good question. Sam asks, if you could translate every single hour progression you've put into learning Smite and dump it into another game automatically and gain the resulting skill / knowledge, what game would you choose and why? I mean, it really comes down to just like what game I have fun with at the time, and like right now, like I said before, I mean, I'm really enjoying Smite, so it's hard to say. I think I was a big fan of COD back in the day, Call of Duty, and I kind of just stopped playing that entirely recently. And I think that if I had continued to play that, and if I kind of grinded it like I did in Smite, and really put the content side of things, content effort into it, and kind of knowing what I know now, if I knew that back then, I actually think I might have been able to make it like at least at like a semi-pro level, maybe even a pro level in Call of Duty. So maybe that game. I've always enjoyed Call of Duty. I've always enjoyed making content for that game. But yeah, other than that, maybe like Valorant. I was grinding Valorant a little bit, got to like Immortal last year, kind of stopped playing that entirely as well. I kind of have these like, I don't know, these episodes, if you will, or these like phases where I'll really grind out a game and have fun with it, and then I kind of just stop playing it entirely and just come back to Smite. It kind of depends on whether I'm enjoying Smite or not, and like I said before, I am enjoying Smite right now. But maybe like a fun answer to that is maybe like not even a video game itself, but like just a hobby, or maybe a game like chess where, you know, like not a video game, but something that if I put a lot of time and effort into, maybe I could get good at. So yeah, that'd be my answer. So Justin Thomas asking, this is a question I get quite often, so I might as well answer it. He says, I know you're contemplating not being an SPL this year. Has the changes to Smite improved the outcome for next year? And what are your thoughts on the current meta? It's kind of weird. I enjoy Smite, and I think the meta is actually kind of fun, but there's some stale parts of it. Like, I think that people rushing sovereignty in solo is just really boring, and it's really hard to trade, and there's like no outplay potential, and it makes the lane really stale. But overall, I actually enjoy the game. There's a lot of build variety. There's a lot of things you can do in ranked. I've been off-rolling a lot. I think it's really healthy to just like play different roles and try out different builds and gods, so you can actually, you know, enjoy the game and not just be stuck doing one thing. So yeah, I really like it, and competitive is actually pretty fun as well. Obviously, it's been a bit of a rejuvenation with the team with Scream and everything like that. Kind of just like, you know, people talk about like a honeymoon phase, and that's been nice. But I've just been enjoying hanging out with my team. Scrims have been fun, and yeah, right now Smite competitive has been pretty fun. I like this one. So Scalping Snake asks, in your opinion, what makes a god fun for you? I think for me, it's all about the satisfying ability to hit with good feedback animations. I also enjoy gods with varying combos. I definitely agree. I actually think one of the big things for me when it comes to a character is like how high their skill ceiling is, and like every time you play them, you learn something new, or you don't play a fight perfectly. You can play it better, right? A character like that is like Yamoja or like Terra, for example. Characters with walls have really high skill ceilings, and I really enjoy them. Odin's in the water, and he's going crazy. But yeah, characters like that, just like every time you play them, you feel like you could get better at them, and there's more to improve on. I really enjoy that. So an example of that, one of my favorite characters ever since her release has been Yamoja, and I think she's a perfect example. So. Okay, so Austin Day asks, I'm starting university in September and I'm really nervous for it. Do you have any advice for how to do well and meet new people in university? So I'm not the greatest person to ask for this because I did drop out, but I'd say that it's a lot different than high school. Everybody's worried about themselves and doing their own thing, I feel like, in college, and you shouldn't really be nervous about it. It should be like a fun time for you. Obviously, it can be a little bit stressful with like classes and, you know, trying to stay on top of all those things, but yeah, I'd say for the most part, everybody's just kind of doing their own thing, and if you want to meet new people, just try and talk to people, even if it's like in your class. Like if people have similar classes to you, maybe you can talk to them. You guys can help each other out. But yeah, I would say don't be nervous about it. It's going to be a fun time, and it's really not all everyone makes it out to be, you know. So Liners Finers ask, what is your favorite thing about being a part of the SPL, and what is your least favorite thing, or just a dislike? I'd say that my favorite thing is just being able to play a game that I love for a living and be able to support, like, you know, Bria and our pets and all that, and you know, live in our own independently. And it allows me to make content as well, which I really, really enjoy. Like having thousands of people watch me every day is just surreal and insane, and obviously very humbling. And I really do appreciate you guys for that. But one thing I do dislike about it is that we had to move to Georgia. And although there are nice places like to come to in Georgia, just like being here specifically, like away from family, and just kind of being in a town that I don't necessarily want to live in if I had the choice. But you know, everybody makes sacrifices, and I'd say that people who have like real jobs usually tend to do that. So if I'm able to do that for, you know, like basically a dream job, then, you know, I can get over it. So Chris asked, what were your first impressions of your current teammates? We'll start in the duo lane. Max, I always thought was like a super salty, just like ranked player, always being super toxic, talking to his teammates, and he still is to this day, but that's just how he is. And then Mike, my first impressions were, honestly, I didn't really know too much about him. I didn't really see him too much in ranked, and I kind of just thought he was like just like a nice guy, super competitive guy when I see him like in listen-ins and like when he did the casting back in the day in the SPL. You know, just seemed like a cool guy, and he is. And then Pagon, actually, I teamed with Pagon, or Daniel's cousin, his cousin, Mango de Bay was his name. We teamed together a few times in the Challenger Cup, and at the time, Daniel was probably only like 12 or 13 years old, and his name was Dewey, and he was like a ranked menace. I mean, obviously, Daniel still is a ranked menace to this day. But yeah, that's what I knew about him. I knew he was really young, and but I knew that he was really good, and that's basically, I had no idea what his personality or anything like that was like, but Daniel's obviously really cool. And then Scream's kind of in the same boat as Max, except not as toxic, but I knew back in the day, like, he to me came off as more of like a Call of Duty kid, when I like experienced him in like like ranked and when he was playing jungle. I remember he used to play like Ao Kwong and characters like that, and just like kind of hard carry. And then when I saw him like on United or when he was on Enemy, kind of just reinforced that opinion. And you know, knowing him now, he's just a chill dude, and definitely an enjoyable teammate. So Julian asks, if you had a role swap, what role do you think you dominate in like you do in solo? I'm not sure about dominate. I think I could play every role in the SPL if I put enough time into it, just knowing what I know about the game. But I think if I had to switch, and if I like had the motivation to actually play the role, that's the most important thing I'd say. I think it would probably be mid. I think I'd go mid. Mages are just the most fun class, in my opinion, in the entire game. So those are obviously fun to play, and I just think it has a lot of impact on the game, and yeah, just enjoyable. So Itshiro asks, and a lot of other people ask this as well, just basically asking me about the gym. He says, how's the gym grind been going? bench, squat, deadlift, and I need to know you're training legs. So it's been a little bit weird lately. I've been like trying to rehab like my knees. My knees, like I went to the doctor a while back, to a knee specialist down in Florida, and a physical therapist, and basically they did like some like CAT scans and X-rays and stuff like that of my knees, and they were basically telling me that my knees look like old people knees. So it wasn't something I wanted to hear, but I've just been trying to rehab those. I have been trying to train legs, not so much just like straight up back squatting. I've been trying to do like front squats and stuff because that's just a little bit more comfortable for me. Not really like trying to max out or anything. I've actually been doing like Smith machine squats. Those feel really good. Bulgarian split squats actually don't hurt my knees at all. I've just been trying to do those. But yeah, I haven't really been trying to like squat and deadlift max or anything like that. We were doing Max and I, when I say we were doing a power building program from Jeff Nippard. You guys probably know him on YouTube. And that was going pretty good. Kind of slowed down on that, but yeah, basically I haven't been like taking the gym as seriously as I used to, like going every single day. Like before I would go like 6 days a week and like sometimes even 7 and not take days off. But lately I've just been trying to like give myself a little bit more time. I've been trying to stream more because I've been enjoying that. Maybe going like 4 days a week and just trying to do like full body days because those are really enjoyable. Yeah, I really like doing full body days. And also I've just been trying to like get out of the house more and maybe do like more, like we played pickleball a few times with people in the SPL, just going on like walks and stuff like that. Just, it doesn't have to be in the gym to get your exercise in, and it all depends on like why you're doing it. I'm just trying to be a little bit more healthier, so it doesn't have to be weights. It can just be, doing something for exercise. So Invincible Soul asks, as far as you see, players playing which character tend to have meltdowns in matches the most? I'd say Loki and Serket. Leon asks, what mechanics would you like to see on a newer God release? I've thought about like a lot of different things. I think something I would like to see though is a character that can like force a 1v1 in a way, like sort of like a Neja ult or a Kumba ult or like a Heim ult, where they like banish somebody and they're allowed to choose somebody else on their team, and they all go into like or just both of them go into like a cage or something, and they have to 1v1, and like obviously their teammate gets like an advantage. Like let's say they have like 10% damage mitigation, or they get like extra, like lifesteal while they're in this like cage or whatever, and then they just have to kill each other, and whoever wins wins. Like I think that'd be like a fun mechanic. You could also do something like that in Soul Lane itself, where like you have to like enter a dungeon and you have to 1v1 each other for like an objective on the map or something. But there's that. And then Bria actually suggested something one time where, what if there was like a character that could like hide items or like trick people's items to maybe seeing like something that's not actually there. So you go like a full lifesteal build and then hide all your items, and they won't build anti-heal for you, and that could be like a passive or something. Most players would not even like recognize or use that because most of the player base is just, doesn't even know how to counter build. But I think that would just be fun at a high level. And to be honest, I don't care about the general player base. So Lollipop asks, what are your ambitions after Smite? And even more important, how do you keep to your fitness regime or regimen? So I'm going to address the second part first because actually a few other people asked that as well. And I kind of talked about it in my last Q&A video. When you first start getting into fitness and exercise, whatever it is, whether it's weights or anything like that, you just need to find something that you actually enjoy doing. For me, that was just lifting weights, but that can be anything. It could be a sport, just going to like play basketball. It could be swimming. It could be just like going on trails and hiking, stuff like that. Any type of exercise is going to be healthy for you, especially if you're just doing it to get healthier. If you're doing it specifically to like look better or gain muscle, obviously you're going to have to do some resistance training. But even then, you don't have to just do weight training, like going in and benching and squatting. Like there's a lot of different weight training that you can do. You just got to look it up and do some research on YouTube. There's plenty of free resources on YouTube and just Google. So just find something that you love doing so that you actually are enjoying what you're doing. Like you're enjoying going to the gym or enjoying going to like the basketball court, because then you'll actually feel motivated to do it every day. And then another thing is like the discipline. So if you're actually trying to reach a long-term goal, my example is like brushing your teeth. Like you brush your teeth every day so that long-term you don't get gum disease and you have healthy teeth and stuff like that. It's not something that you skip every other day and are like, oh, I could just, I'll just skip it a day. It's all good. If you're actually trying to reach long-term goals with fitness, you have to see it as like brushing your teeth. Now, obviously, if you're not feeling it one day, you're not feeling great, you can take a day off. It's fine. You can take a day off here and there. But yeah, I'd say that just having some discipline and treating it something as like a long-term goal for you can really help your brain, not trick your brain, but like sort of condition your brain into realizing that it's an important thing in your life. So it's about prioritization. And then also, last but not least, just like having like some caffeine to help you when you exercise is really good. Just having a cup of coffee. If you want to, you can even do like a pre-workout, but I'd recommend just doing like a cup of coffee before you go to the gym or to whatever you're doing, and that'll help a lot as well because it'll give you some energy and make you feel good when you're doing it. Oh, and then also long-term goals or ambitions after Smite. You know, I'm really taking it day by day, just living in the moment, you know. Obviously, content creation has always been a passion of mine, so that's probably something that I would continue to do. Maybe return to school if I'm feeling it. You know, I still don't really know what I would want to do, like, long-term, if I went back to, like, university or anything like that. But that's something you definitely could consider. And, you know, just continuing to try and get better at things that I like hobbies and stuff like that, learning languages, and you know, if I had more free time, maybe I could do that again, or do that more. So VVK says every poo-poo time is a pee-pee time, but not every pee-pee time is a poo-poo time. Riddle me this, Batman. That's a good point. Except if you're a man and you're standing up while you pee and it becomes poo-poo time, well, then you have a problem. So Nav asks, did you go to college before committing to SPL? If so, what did you study? Yes, I was doing computer science, but never really got into like the higher education classes or anything like that. I was pretty close to my AA, my associate's degree, but I dropped out for obvious reasons. So Cusco Mufasa asks, if you can be in Smite, which god will you represent slash play as? It's a good question. I think obvious answer is like any jacked character. Not that I'm jacked, but I want to be that. Like a Colin or like Herc or like Achilles is pretty handsome as well. But I think I'd be more like a Cupid. SMD AKS asks, would you rather want that everything you eat tastes good to you, or you can eat what you want but won't gain weight, both for entire life? Definitely eat what I want and won't gain weight. Not that I'm like too worried about gaining weight, but if it's like, you know, you can eat literally anything you want and just get shredded, oh, definitely that. Because everything you eat tastes good to you. I'm not very picky. I like most things, so it's not really that hard to enjoy the food that I eat, you know? So Project Z asked a question I already answered, but he asked to shout out Scalping Snake, so shout outs to Scalping Snake. So Thunderbeast says, I might not be remembering correctly, but didn't you say that Sam and Max were part of the reason you were still playing competitive Smite? Should we now expect no Fino and SPL next year? No, I was just playing with my team, just playing with the same teammates. I didn't really want to go to another team, and if I did, I was probably going to consider just like taking a break. So it wasn't just Sam and Max, it was Sam, Max, Mike, and the thought of playing with Daniel, and after meeting him was like pretty cool to me. So yeah, it was just a combination of everybody. So Skylar Gentry asks, do you have or had any hobbies that you wish you had more time for / don't make time for anymore? Yeah, definitely. I need to prioritize, you know, trying to become fluent in Spanish. I need to practice that more. The guitar, I was practicing that for a little bit, and I kind of just completely stopped doing that. Maybe even the gym, but not so much the gym, just because I've just been prioritizing streaming and content creation a little bit more lately. So yeah, I'd say a combination of those three things. Okay, so dtrips asks, you ever sleep on your arm and it wakes you up with a weird, uncomfortable tingling sensation, so you try and move, but it won't move alone, so you have to pick it up and roll over to toss it off the bed, and while you're waiting for the blood to return, you remember all the good times you had when your arm didn't feel how it feels now? Yes. Oh, it's the something that you've learned from Bria question.
There's just so many to pick from.
I know, there is. So many things to pick from.
I got one.
What? So Justin Melendez says, what's something that you've learned from Bria? Bria's my fiance, of course. Fiance for a few years now. We're really stalling out the marriage thing. But something I've learned from Bria. Well, there was this one time we were playing this board game with the teammates, and I thought that your intestines, if you stretch them out, could reach the moon. There was the wrong fact. There's something like that. It's like your veins or something. I don't know. And we were all dying laughing. But, yeah, she taught me that was not true. But on a more serious note, she just taught me to be a better person, honestly. So Matt asks, what possible future crossovers are you hoping for? I think a Marvel crossover would be really cool if they could ever do that. Maybe like a Star Wars crossover. Maybe some more animes as well. Maybe Attack on Titan. That'd be a cool crossover, I think. So Jack Ben asks, what's an idea, YouTube or life, that continually pops up in your head, but unfortunately you find yourself without enough time to create? Just traveling, honestly. Just being able to travel more. We just play so many SPL games that it's hard to make time to do that. But I just want to travel the world, you know, go to Iceland, Netherlands, New Zealand, Japan, South America, like Peru and stuff like that. But we just don't got the time for it. But we'll make time for it. So Jordan Jenkins asks, is there any pregame rituals or lucky attire that anyone on the team uses? We usually play a game of Soggy Biscuit before each game, and that helps out a lot. So sorry, I'm going to butcher this name. Effie Izhar asks, this is really important, but I'll understand if you won't answer this controversial question. Peanut butter, smooth or chunky? Something even more controversial for me is going to be this answer, is that I actually don't even really like peanut butter that much. Like, it's fine. I'll eat it, but I feel like it's kind of overrated. And I don't really care whether it's smooth or chunky. I kind of like both, but I'll go chunky. So Hank Hill says, do you love your fans? We love you, of course. Ruklav asks, if you could add any god or pantheon into Smite, what would it be, and why is it Jesus? Jesus would be pretty good, but I think I would rather add not even like mythological like gods and goddesses, but more like crypto characters and stuff like that, like Bigfoot or like the Loch Ness Monster or like the Slenderman. I think stuff like that would be really cool. Croc Nugget asks, what is your secret talent? My thumb is double jointed. And that's literally it. That's all I'm good for. Don Juan asks, what is your dream car? Probably a GTR. Francesco asks, are you Italo-American or Fonzo has another origin? Yes, I'm Italian. My great-great-grandfather was born in Italy. I forget exactly where. But yeah, we come from Italy. On my dad's side, to be fair. My mom's side is like German, Irish, and something else. I don't know. So Potato King asks, what's your favorite brand of dong? Dong? Potato King asks, what's your favorite brand of dog? And I'd have to go with a Honda. Laspera asks, hey, can you answer this question? No. And then Thunderbeast asks, what's your height? I believe I'm 5'10". 5'10 or 5'11". But who's counting?
Help!
So Avernus asks, what's your opinion on how damage solos fit in with overall balance, like running Ring Disc Bracken and Bastet with Transcendence / Soul Eater, etc.? Do you think that they aren't good in that they force traditional warrior mentality out, or the opposite where it's to be embraced? I really enjoy it. I think the more variety in soloing, the better. Usually those characters have counterplay, and you are kind of missing a front line in the late game, and you can actually capitalize on that if you're an enemy team. So there's always counterplay to it. It's not like these characters are just like, whenever this happens, it's not like they have to be the meta. Even when people are playing like hunters and mages in the soling, like people are still playing tanks and countering it, and it was working. So I actually enjoy it and embrace it. And whenever the meta is like shifted a little bit and people can have fun trying out different stuff, I enjoy it. So Papa Puff and Pass says, Crash Bandicoot or Jack and Dexter? Definitely Crash Bandicoot. Feeding asks, what are your favorite exercises to do with weights and without? Do you have a favorite exercise, tool / or example is like a kettlebell, bands, etc.? I just like shoulder movements. I really enjoy like working shoulders, so shoulder pressing is really fun to me. But as far as like a tool, no, not really. Maybe a flashlight? Merlino asks, will the video be under a tree again or maybe a cave? Well, we're under a lot of trees actually. Hopefully we can get some B-roll of that. We'll show you guys. Waffy asks a pretty deep question, says, advice for someone who wants to get into the excessive, they meant to say exercise, mentality, but having a hard time making it for me rather than the appearance of others and how they perceive me. That's a really good question, really deep one. I mean, no matter how we feel about it, like whenever we're trying to look good and be confident in ourselves, like there is that like, that voice in the back of our head is like, oh, we're kind of doing this for others as well and how they perceive us. So it's always going to be there. But yeah, just trying to be confident in yourself and just like being happy with how you look when you look in the mirror. It's just like a really important thing to work towards. But at the end of the day, if you're exercising, you're doing something every day, not only are you going to feel good mentally, it kind of morphs your brain in a way to make you feel better and be more positive about your body. But you're just gonna feel good doing it. And you should know that if you are getting out and doing like an exercise every day, maybe not every day, but every other day, or 5 times a week, it's just good for your overall health, and it's going to make you a healthier person. So that's something you just have to realize and keep in mind. And I talked about it in an earlier question that, kind of depends on what your goals are and everything like that. But, making it a priority for you is going to be really good for the long run. And like I said, exercising or lifting weights or doing whatever you want is extremely good for your brain. It helps out. And once you get into a routine, you'll realize how important it is. So Beatty, I think Beatty, there's a B, but then there it says Katie. Either one, we'll say Beatty. Says, what's your dream blunt rotation with Smite gods? So I thought about this because I remember reading it on stream. So I thought about it a little bit. I'm going to go with Rockstar Baron, Doodle Cthulhu, Swagni, and the Mafia Kuzenbo skin. Those 4. I'm choosing skins because I think that makes it a lot better. So yeah, those 4 characters. We're gonna have a blunt rotation. They're gonna call me Toyota, the way I Corolla joint. Boo! So Lovey asks, it's your cheat day. What are you eating for each meal? I need quantity too, King. Donuts in the morning and for dessert at the end of the day. Maybe some beignets at the end. I'm thinking like 6 each. We're gonna have some wings for dinner probably. For lunch, I'm getting like a brisket sandwich or something. So Joseph asks, or Northern says, have you ever almost switched roles while competing? If not, what role is your worst and best outside of solo? I actually used to play jungle in the Challenger Cup. I've played every role in competitive a little bit outside of support. I've thought about switching to mid a couple times, but before it was like if I was going to switch, I was just going to switch to jungle. But like I answered in an early question, it's probably going to be mid these days if I were to ever switch.